installed at the 1.5 mile start, under orders, and they're racing. Just walking out of the gates, Candice and Mojus missed it as well, and is being hard ridden on the right of picture as we sort them out. As they settle down now, and it's Santa Isabel going on from Najjar, the two nose-banded runners in the centre from Silver Grey Lady. Mojus made up the ground well, followed next in the field by Tafshi, and then right in the centre is Zanzibar from Mia. Further back in the field then is Fighter Fancy, the Royal Filly, right in the centre of the picture. Further back, Candice over on the right. They're followed by Imagine, who settles third last from Sunstone, and Gay Heroine is last of all. Climbing uphill all the time in the Vodafone Oaks, and Santa Isabel setting a cracking pace. Leads by a length and a half, Mamiya. 3 parts away then on the outside. In third is Mojus as they race towards the highest point of the course. Silver Grey Lady right off the track, having a hard run there and forced wider by Najjar. In behind them, Tafshi, followed by Relish the Thought, Fighter Fancy, 3 deep around Zanzibar and Candice. They're 2 or 3 lengths in advance now of Sunstone, who's well back in the field, in company there with Imagine, who's right on the outside with Food Broker Fancy, and Gay Heroine is last of all. Reaching the highest point of the course now, about to freewheel downhill, less than 6 furlongs to travel in the Vodafone Oaks, and it's on the inside, Santa Isabel being pressured by Mamiya. They're a length and a half to Relish the Thought and Mojus. Out wider then is Najjar. In behind them in about 6th position, Tafshi, followed then by Fighter Fancy, who's right there in the centre and steadied going down to Tattenham Corner. They're 2 or 3 lengths in advance now of Food Broker Fancy on the outside of runners. Imagine giving them a big start as they race down the hill, and Gay Heroine being hard ridden. Santa Isabel on the inside of Amir as they race round Tattenham Corner now. Over 3 furlongs to race in the Vodafone Oaks. In behind them in third is Relish the Thought, followed by Fighter Fancy, and they're followed by Tafshi. On the outside is Mojus. They've kicked away now from Imagine, who's being launched down the outside and coming home fast. On the far side, Relish the Thought takes it up now from Mojus. On the near side, Imagine is powering down the outside, followed then by Fighter Fancy as they race up with 2 furlongs left to go in the Vodafone Oaks. Relish the Thought, the far side, being tackled by Mojus. Here comes Imagine right down the outside with a furlong left to go. Imagine races up to Relish the Thought. Relish the Thought and Imagine settle down to fight it out. Fighter Fancy getting into the clear as well. Imagine takes it up with 50 yards left to go, and Imagine goes on to win the Vodafone Oaks. Photo second, Fighter Fancy, the Royal Filly, got second, just ahead of Relish the Thought, followed by Sunstone, and behind them was Mojus. They were followed by Gay Heroine, Silver Grey Lady, Tafshi, Mamiya, Food Broker Fancy. They're followed by Santa Isabel, Candice, Zanzibar, and Najjara's last to finish in the Vodafone Oaks of 2001. Let's have a look at them once again. Imagine in the dark blue colours of Sue Magna, owned in partnership by Michael Tabor, trained by Aidan O'Brien, ridden by Mick Cannan. Officially a photo second, but it looks like the Royal Filly on the near side. Fighter Fancy gets it just ahead of Relish the Thought. In behind them, Sunstone and Mojus almost together. They're followed by Gay Heroine, Tafshi, Silver Grey Lady, Mamiya. Food Broker Fancy could never get into it at all, and a long gap then to the others. But this sets up what could be an amazing weekend for the Ballydoyle contingent, because they have Galileo, who surely will start favourite now in the Vodafone Derby tomorrow. Imagine backed off the boards late, 3-1 favourite. Number 5, Imagine, who's by Sadler's Wells out of Doff the Derby, a half-sister to Generous, owned by Mrs. David Nagel and Mrs. Sue Magna, trained by Aidan O'Brien, ridden by Mick Cannan. Second is number 2, Fighter Fancy, owned by Her Majesty the Queen, trained by Sir Michael Stout, ridden by Kieran Fallon. Third, number 9, the Relish the Thought, owned by Maktoum Al Maktoum, trained by Barry Hills, ridden by Michael Hills. And it's a photo fourth, and the judge still looking at that, and that's between 12 Sunstone and 7 Mojus. But no doubt about the winner, Imagine. She's run right up to the form she showed at the Curragh. Well, Mick Cannan, who was successful on Chartouche here in 1998, also trained by Aidan O'Brien. That was Aidan's first runner at Epsom, and now they've come up trumps with another classic winner. She's a beautiful filly as well. There were concerns in certain quarters about her on the ground today, but the ground, although good to firm, is riding just about a second or so, or maybe a second and a half slower than standard. and it is beautiful ground. But there is Imagine. She is absolutely priceless now after that victory. She's won the Irish 1000, and now she wins the Vodafone Oaks at Epsom, and as a broodmare prospect, she is absolutely priceless. Mick Cannan, of course, didn't have the ride at the Curragh. He was aboard stablemate Taroka, who he had partnered. I'd say he probably wanted to switch very close to the race when the ground came up a little bit softer than he'd expected, but it was not to be. He gets his reward today, the compensation. He gets it well and truly with Imagine winning this Vodafone Oaks, trained by Aidan O'Brien. Now, Mojust has got fourth, owned by Mohammed El Nabuda, trained by Ed Dunlop and ridden by Richard Hughes. That makes Sunstone a very honourable fifth. Imagine coming back here. This half-sister to Generous, who won the Derby in 1991. And she has upheld family tradition by winning here this afternoon. The Ballydoyle operation, oozing talent this year. Aidan O'Brien having trained a 1-2-3 in the Irish 2000 guineas, and then a 1-2-4, or a 1-3-4 I should say, in the Irish 1000. So the talent he has in the 3-year-old ranks is pretty strong, and there is Her Majesty John and Caroline Warren commiserating with her.
7-0 seconds.
Well, this was a superb performance by Imagine, who didn't look to handle the hill particularly well. The fast ground not necessarily in her favour. There were doubts over her stamina. No doubts anymore. She stayed really well. But how unlucky was Flight of Fancy. Finishing second in the end for the Queen. She got interfered with about 2 furlongs from home. Kieran couldn't get the run when he wanted it. She's run into the back of other horses as well. She's been desperately unlucky, although, Willie, I'm not sure she'd ever have beaten the winner even with a clear run.
Animal very long stride and sort of got a little bit unbalanced, but she was finishing very well again. But the first three all by Sadler's Wells. What a stallion he is, and now he goes into the record books of having the most ever Group 1 wins.
Well, the applause, the warm applause for a great winner of the Oaks, and what a remarkable performance it is by the stallion Sadler's Wells. And will he be able to end the jinx that seems to have haunted him throughout his career tomorrow, because he is the sire of Galileo. It really is a nonsensical